Hey everybody, it's Mike from the Mike Wagner Show, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson Zia Missing. Also brought by Illuminatical, the think tank of the future. Visit facebook.com/Illuminatical. It's ELMUNENIPTICAL. Also brought to Sweet Psalmist with Serena Wagner, based on the life of David on Amazon. Keyword Serena Wagner, Sweet Psalmist, and Heidi Tam Music, appearing August 25th in Los Angeles. More details at HeidiTamMusic.com. We're here with an amazing gentleman who's author, international thought leader, known as the father of life planning. We'll get to more about that. Harvard educated professional, revolutionizing financial advice for 35 plus years, training 5,000 pros in 30 countries in financial life planning. Also founded the Amazing Institute of Life Planning in '03 after 30 years of practicing financial planning, and also one of the 35 most influential people in financial services. He has a new book out, which inspires readers to experience the three profound freedoms. And what are they? Derives from the life extensive experience as aspirational practitioner and pioneer of financial life planning. We have a wonderful gentleman who's in studio right now, live from the studios somewhere outside. Could be Massachusetts, could be maybe somewhere, but this guy's all over the place. He's got the book, The Three Domains of Freedom. Ladies and gentlemen, the multi-talented George Kinder. George, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Thanks for joining us today.
Hey, Mike, great to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
Well, it's great to have you on board, George. So you're an author, international thought leader, known as the father of life planning. You're Harvard-educated professional, revolutionized financial advice for 35 plus years, training 5,000 pros in 30 countries in financial life planning. You founded the Kinder Institute of Life Planning in '03 after spending 30 years as a practicing financial planner and tax advisor, and also named one of the most 35 most influential people in financial services. You have a new book out, The Three Domains of Freedom, inspiring readers to experience the three profound freedoms. We'll get to more about that. And also decades from life of living the extensive experiences as aspirational practitioner and pioneer of financial life planning. It offers perspective, discover their purpose, and more. And before getting all that, George, tell us how you first got started.
Well, gosh, what I started in what, man? I mean, yeah,
Way
uh,
back, Sherman, way back.
I go way back. I was born in West Virginia and grew up in rural Ohio, and I think it was there. I think really what my life has been about is really exploring what is the nature of freedom, and so the latest book is that the three domains of freedom. The life planning career that you're talking about was something that I can't say I fell into, but I had to make a living.
I
And
see. Planning out life, not what you think, guys. This is different. So,
yeah, I mean, I didn't want to do that. I mean, I wanted to do something else. I felt like I know you interview a lot of musicians and everything. I thought I was more of an artist, more of a spiritual person. I wanted to live in the moment, but it wouldn't pay the rent. So I was good at mathematical things. I'd minored in economics at Harvard, and I thought, well, I'll do taxes for a living for a while, and that's what I did. And one of the great things about doing tax returns for a living is that if you do it right, you only have to do a few months out of the year. Unless you get really good at it, and then it expands into the whole year, and
right,
that's
the year round, people forget to pay their taxes. And, oh, I'm late on taxes. Can I extend my deadline? I have to go to France for emergency surgery or something like that.
exactly
So,
one deadline after another, and you just go on and on. And you're lucky if you have a break between October and January. But the but early on, I think the formative thing from the childhood in Ohio and on the West Virginia border was I loved being out in nature. I loved being in the fields, and we might talk about. There's a whole nother set of books I did that I just completed over the last couple of years called Reflections on Spectacle Pond, which is about the relationship of nature to the present moment. It's really about exploring what is it to live in this incredible world we have, and
it certainly
uh,
does.
and learn from every moment, basically. So what happened with taxes? Of course, it wasn't what I really wanted to do, but I realized I could probably do financial planning from that, and you could make more money with that. And I began to notice that my clients were just as much struggling with what freedom was for them as I was, that they
Hmm.
weren't actually living the life that they wanted to live. And
Right.
that was surprising for me. I didn't realize that so many of us were kind of struggling with that, having a day gig and then whatever, whatever it is. And so I went back to graduate school in financial planning, and I thought I can maybe if I learn financial planning, I can learn how to really set up my life so I'm really free. And in the process, I realized that I could also help my clients do the same. And out of that grew this practice that I've trained people in now from 30 different countries. It's been really a real privilege to spend so much time with people of different cultures. And the practice is called life planning. And the basis of it is that, or the idea of it is that we, before we even come to our money stuff, we ought to figure out who we want to be and how we
Right.
want to live.
It's not just money. It's like it's not just money, money, money. It's just, what do you do with money? How you spend with money? How do you even play with money? That's another one, playing with money.
Right, right. And most of all, how do you live the life you really want to live? Because you got this one life. I know in India, maybe they live multiple lives and everything, but here in America, mostly we just live this one life and we got this one opportunity. Let's make the most of it. And
Unless you're a cat, you have 9 lives.
yeah, well, that's true. Yeah, I know I've had a few cats in my life. But the notion was, um, people get too tied up in doing their taxes and do I save? How do I invest? Who do I trust? Those are all important questions. They are not insignificant questions. But the most important question is, who do you want to be? And if you work with someone who really listens well to who that is, and often that's not someone who's just going to sell you stocks, right?
Right.
It's
Yeah. Yeah. Stocks, insurance, bonds, or anything like that.
anything like that. So what I did was I figured out a way to have a conversation. It's kind of like what you do, right? You have an interview.
Right.
And and what I wanted to do with that was to, first of all, you have to get through the trust barrier because people don't trust financial advisors very much. Of course, nowadays we don't trust anything very much. And
Right.
that's
Yeah. Unless you wave like $1 million bill, $100 bill, or anything like that. It's like, here, trust me, trust me.
That's right. That's right. And of course, that's one of the reasons that I wrote this book that I've written. But the notion was I wanted to I figured out for myself how to see who it was that I wanted to be, what it was that I really wanted to do. In fact, I had a passion from early on in early adulthood, and it was mainly to write and to live more in nature, to be more of an artist
Hmm.
than just a writer. And so my one of my books, a series of five books just prior to this, are books of poetry and photography intermingled together
Wow.
and,
Okay.
and meant to inspire people to live in the present moment in nature. They have a two-page spread for every single day of the year going through the year. So today is what, August 12th. So you'd pick it up, look at August 12th, and I try to write something with every day that is inspiring for someone to really be here in the present moment.
Wow, that is amazing. And I thought about you mentioned about artists, writers, and everything like that. Who's your favorite artists and your favorite writers growing up?
Well, I think most of them go back in the past, Mike. I mean, one of the things that I realized early on is that it's the people who've died already that have been weighed by history, that have been evaluated, and it's those are the people in the museums for the art. And so, even though I'm a photographer, I take most of my inspiration from the great painters.
Wow.
So
Okay.
so I certainly, so I'm really looking forward. There's a painter coming from Germany that I'm really looking forward to, is a painter around the same time as William Blake wrote poetry and did painting in England. His name is Caspar David Friedrich. They're about
Oh,
to have a
nice.
huge show of him at the Met, and he's just a brilliant painter. Very few people in the West know about him. or anywhere
Really?
know about it. It's really brilliant. So I'm excited about that. But I think the thing that I wanted to do, here you and I are talking, right? And we see each other and we see the colors around us, we see the shapes, but we are layering all of it with thoughts.
Hmm.
And I thought, gosh, shouldn't we do that with, I mean, why aren't our books more alive with color and taking us to the deep places they can take us, but really alive with shape and form? So I created a two-page spread for every single day of the year to inspire people. Now, that's not the book we're here really to talk
Right.
about.
Yeah, that's understandable. And of course, there's a lot more to besides the three domains of freedom. We'll find out what those are. You also got some amazing books as well. You talked about Reflections on Spectacle Pond, the weekly edition, also the map of mindfulness and more with George Kinder. What's he got to offer? But first, you listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by SoundCloud Studios. Visit online at SoundCloudStudios.com for all your needs. Look at a professional website without breaking your budget. SoundCloud Studios is the answer. Sonic Web Studios offers fast, affordable custom web designs that blow the competition away. Call today 1-800-303-3960. That's 1-800-303-3960 or email to support@sonicwebstudios.com. Mention Mike Wagner Show, get 20% off your first project. Sonic Web Studios, take your image to the next level. Also, time to give official shout out to our official sponsor, The Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Molson-Zia. If you love fast-paced mysteries, you love Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing is fast-paced and intriguing with an unforgettable twist. Takes place in 4 countries, 2 strangers, 1 target, where truth is illusion and those who love be the first go missing. It's available on Amazon and paperback and ebook. Missing by Mia Molson-Zia has got great reviews in Evil Evan and George by Howard celebrities, including Joanna Cassidy, Forbes Riley, and many others. So grab your copy today. 4 Goes Missing by Mia Molson-Zia, available on Amazon. Also, the Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by Elim Niptical, a human think tank that brings scientists and engineers together from all over the world, creating a method to construct a renewable generator with this in mind. This unique product operates on a closed loop system that generates more energy internally than it needs to function. The extra electric can be used for everything from homes to power grids, phones to laptops. This power source is renewable, highly scalable, and most importantly, self-regenerating. Visit facebook.com/elimniptical today. That's ELLUMENTIPTICAL.com today. Also, Mike Wagner Show is brought to you by The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David, including 30 paintings in King David Psalms. The Sweet Psalmist gives a new perspective of David throughout the Psalms he wrote and his time as a shepherd, where it started, and his complicated yet turbulent relationship with King Saul. It's a story of love, betrayal, repentance, and more. Check out The Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner on Amazon. Keyword Serena Wagner, Sweet Psalmist. Also brought out by Heidi Tam Music, featuring the smash hit Baby Comeback and appearing August 20th in Los Angeles. Listen for details at HeidiTamMusic.com. Also, take the Mike Wagner Show with you on any mobile device at the MikeWagnerShow.com, 40 podcast platforms, heard on countries. And for great gift ideas, go to Amazon.com. Check out the Mike Wagner Show podcast for t-shirts, pop sockets, throw pillows, tote bags, hoodies, makes great gifts 24/7. And also on Amazon.com, check out the Mia Molson-Zia store for great books, merchandise, and more. And support the Mike Wagner Show on Anchor FM, PayPal, and the MikeWagnerShow.com. We're here with the amazing author and international thought leader known as the father of life planning, George Kinder, here on the Mike Wagner Show. And before we talk about the 3 domains of freedom, you mentioned some of your favorite writers. It looks like you got some really good books. We did cover Reflections on Spectacle Pond, and also Golden Civilization and the Map of Mindfulness, Transforming Suffering into Wisdom, A Song for Hannah, and Life Planning for You, and also Lighting the Torah, and more. And maybe a bit more about the books. If there's some other books I missed, feel free to talk about it.
The book that started it all was a book called The 7 Stages of Money Maturity. But in any case, back to where I was, and what happened was that I came up with a way of working with clients, which I did, to inspire them to live the life they felt called to live. And
Hmm.
it was exciting working with them. And what happened was that I realized that I could train. I gave a speech at a national financial conference at one point, and a whole bunch. I got flocked by financial advisors,
Oh
and they
my
said,
gosh.
"We want to know how to do this. How do you do it?" So, so I started training them, and now we have these, as I said, thousands of advisors all over the world who've studied with me and have taken a series of long workshops. The signature workshop we give is a 5-day training in life planning and how to do life planning. So that's been wonderful. And the book, that you're mentioning and that we're really talking about this, the three domains of freedom. The second domain is your life is yours. And that domain of freedom is what life planning delivers to clients, or to anybody who kind of takes on the questions and goes, I'm going to live this. This is who I'm meant to be.
Hmm.
Uh, so it's in there in the book. Um, and gosh, how I came to write the book was I realized that all of my books, I've written about a dozen of them, and you covered a bunch of them.
I kind of
And,
ran out of room, to be honest with you. It's like, thank God we got the internet and Amazon.com. Thank you very much.
yeah.
You saved our
Um,
butts, guys. Thank you.
and I think one of the things I realized was that over my life, the main thing that I've been driven by is by this notion of what is freedom.
Hmm.
How do we live it? How do we live in it? And how do we inspire people to live in it? And of course, it's something that people struggle with all over the world, right? I mean, it's something that causes, I mean, right now we got wars happening in the world,
Oh
right? And
yeah, wars,
forget about that,
the stock
right?
markets, what's happening, and presidential situations all over the world. It's just like, we just got done with the Olympics. It's like, do we need to say more about this?
Yeah, right. Uh, so anyway, one of the things I realized was that I'd learned by doing, I do a mindfulness practice. I've done a meditative practice since I was a young man. And what I realized, people talk about mindfulness and they talk about it as being, oh, you're going to reduce your stress, you're going to live longer, you're going to have better focus, those kinds of things. But what any kind of meditative practice is, and all traditions have different kinds of meditative practice, is they all train you to come back to the present moment.
Hmm.
So what they all are is a mastery of the present moment. So the first domain of freedom is each moment is yours,
Right.
right? I mean, you and I, any one of these moments, we can just go, okay, here I am, right?
Yes,
And
here we
I'm
are. We accomplished number one. Now, next
right,
up.
there we are. So, and there are people in tough places all over the world, and we know that they don't have political freedom or they don't have economic freedom, but still they have moments. E- e- every human being on the planet has moments where we can pause and say, "This is who I am.
Hmm.
This is who I'm meant to be."
Or just be thankful you have something to it. Like, say, be thankful you have a phone that works, or be thankful that you're reading a great book, or be thankful you're wearing something, or be thankful you can, smell, see, taste, and everything else. Even the smallest things,
Totally.
hey, I still got some hair.
Right. Totally, Mike. I mean, that's one of the things I talk about in the book is that notion of gratitude and of being present with who you are, what you've got.
Hmm.
So those are the first two, and then the final one is the one that we are alluding to now and then with the presidential election and the
Right.
and
Yeah. And I think we're
it's
about,
all
let's see, maybe like, oh, how was it? 2, 3 months away or something like that. It's like, I've lost count, to be honest with you.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But the third one is civilization is yours. So the way it goes, the three domains of freedom, it's all in the subtitles. Each moment is yours, your life is yours, and we kind of get both of those. We understand both of those.
Hmm.
And then the third one is civilization is yours. Maybe I should come back to each moment is yours for a moment, because one of I ask a trick question of large audiences sometimes, and you'll love this. So the trick question is, have you ever experienced a moment of freedom in the past? Walking the beach, making love, playing with your kids, doing something wildly creative, playing music, listening to music. Have you ever experienced a moment of freedom in the past? And I say, it's a trick question, but I want you all to raise your hand. Yeah.
Huh, how
Yeah.
you like that? How you like that? Yeah.
Right. And so then I say, okay, y'all got it wrong, right? Y'all got it wrong. None of us have ever experienced a moment of freedom in the past. The only time we've ever experienced freedom, in fact, the only time we've ever experienced anything, is in the present moment.
Wow. Okay.
Right? I mean, it's stunning, because the only moment we really experience is being right here, right now. It's
Mm-hmm.
always been here. So what a mindfulness practice is, or why this freedom of each moment is yours, is it's a training to get more and more kind of present, more and more awake. It's a mastery of the present moment. And so that's one of the domains of freedom, is that mastery of the present moment.
Oh
And
my gosh, that's certainly amazing as well too. And of course, you did some life extensive experiences and everything. And I mean, you had some moments yourself as well.
I have. I have. In fact, that other set of books that we've talked about, the Reflections on Spectacle Pond, was a 30-year um, work of a personal passion. I wanted to really live in nature and experience it. I live just 10 miles from where Henry David Thoreau wrote his famous book, Walden Pond, or
How
Walden.
do you like that? Wow.
Right. And so I now live on a pond. It's called Spectacle Pond. And when I arrived here, it was so beautiful. I went out and bought the first camera I'd owned since I was a boy,
Oh my
and just
gosh.
started taking pictures. And what I thought I would do was try to capture the best moment of every day. And I recommend it. It's a wonderful practice. At the end of a day, think, what was your best moment? Write it down. You could make a poem of it. You could do it just in a sentence. You could do a paragraph or a story about it, but write it down. Something for your kids to know, your grandkids to celebrate. It's really
Hmm.
something
And
special.
it certainly does too. And in fact, I'm trying to find one of my books. I'm trying to get started. Let me see if I can reach over here. I'm going to get away from it as well. That I've been starting to write a book as well too about my career. So that's going to be another one too. And I'm going to probably let the cat out of the bag in this one. That I'm working on a book slowly but surely and everything like that. So you're the first on the Mike Wagner show to see this. Is that I'll be writing a book sometime soon as well. This pretty much describes it. So.
So I'm going to have to interview you, Mike.
Oh, that'd be great. Yeah. And let me know when you come on anytime as well, too. And of course, you've got some great plans as well, too. And what else is coming up for George Kinder? We'll find out just 1 minute. You listen to the Mike Wagner Show at the MikeWagnerShow.com, powered by Sonic Web Studios, brought to you by official sponsor of the Mike Wagner Show, international warring author Mia Wilson Zia Missing. Also brought to you by Illumnitical, the think tank of the future. Sweet Psalmist by Serena Wagner, based on the life of King David. Amazon.com, Sweet Psalmist Serena Wagner, and Hayatan Music were the latest. Baby, come back at HayatanMusic.com. We're back. We'll be back with the amazing George Kinder of the Three Domains of Freedom after this time. We're back. The amazing author George Kinder of the Three Domains of Freedom here on the Mike Wagner Show. And of course, I guess you wanted to just interview as well too. And what can we expect from you in 2024 and beyond?
Well, I think this last piece is really very interesting in the three domains of freedom. The third domain is that civilization is yours, and I'm excited about that. I've not been very active out in the world in a way. I mean, I've trained financial advisors, but I've done a lot of internal, meditative work and writing and what I and I'm. What civilization is yours is about this notion. First of all, it's the celebration that you talked about a minute ago, celebrating that we've got eyes and ears, that we've got these cell phones. I mean, you know what's amazing about this cell phone? Do you know that 90% of people on the planet have a smartphone?
I was not aware of that. I thought 9% of people own Samsungs and everything like that, or 90% of
Oh,
people
I know.
don't do them. So something like that. So I guess I'm a little bit old school, but at least I can still call, I can still text, and we can watch what's going on and catch the MikeWagnerShow.com. You can do it on any phone too. And pop sockets do come with it, by the way. So I want to mention that to everybody.
I mean, you can do Mike Wagner, absolutely, but you can also, if you've got a health problem, you can find out about that. If you love beautiful music, you can find music on the cell phone. What if, Mike, I mean, this third domain is the domain of civilization is yours, and it's the one that we feel is most problematic. All of us do, because we, you
Mhm.
know, we know we're in a polarized world and it feels kind of crazy and being
Right, it does. And of course, social media, what's going on, everything. You see all these posts and everything like that. It's like, social media seems to be dividing more people than ever. They say it's supposed to bring people together. It seems to be the opposite.
absolutely. And so here's my question to you. And so if we did something, and I've got a proposal in my little book. It's a little book, it's easy to read, and it's a book of wisdom, I think. But like on the smartphone, if we had a rule, a law, that if you're going to be in media, if you're going to, with all the posts and all, that you have a responsibility to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Oh, just like in a court of law.
In a court of law, or scientific standards, or an investigative reporter standards, there are all these standards for truth that are pretty strong. And if that was the case here, and we had that, all of us, all over the world, don't you think we'd make a pretty good decision when we went to the ballot box? I mean, because we still have our differences, we still disagree or argue about things, but we'd at least be talking about what we know is true,
Oh,
and
how
not
you like
simply.
that? Voting by phone. How you like that? I'll vote for this. I'll vote for that. Not this guy, maybe this guy. I could see this happening, replacing ballot boxes. You'll vote for this, vote for that, vote for this. I think we come up with a great idea here.
So one of the things I've got at the end of the Three Domains of Freedom is the notion that I mean, we talked about civilization and polarization. We could talk about the planet burning up, and being really hot. I know we're
Right, yeah, global change, what's going on weather-wise and everything like that. Right now, we're 74 and sunny. We had some hot weather the last couple of weeks. We had much cooler weather, rain, and all that. And feels like fall already. It's like who knows what's gonna happen next. So
I
yeah,
know it's crazy. It's crazy. But we have this world where we don't trust the news, we don't trust institutions, we don't know who to trust. And one of the things that I reflected on was how 250 years ago we had this explosion of growth, right? It was the start of the Industrial Revolution.
hmm
And it was the start of capitalism, really. And it was also, not coincidentally, perhaps, the start of democracy. And at that time, at that explosion, since that time, we've had this, we've been talking about how incredible it is. Look, you and I are speaking over,
Oh yes, all this new technology. It's amazing. Yes.
incredible, incredible. And you can look at my white hair. I'm living much longer than most of my ancestors did already. And it's true for many of
I'm on
us.
the verge of outliving my classmates at this time too, especially in careers wise. I found that out. I'm like, oh my God, I'm that age already. Holy cow.
So there's lots to celebrate, as we mentioned before. But if we had absolutely the best system, if we'd set up the best system, wouldn't we find by now, after 250 years of this explosion of entrepreneurial endeavor and great growth, wouldn't we find at the top of every hierarchy of power the best of humanity, our wisdom, our compassion? Wouldn't we? 250 years? I would think so, if we'd in fact set it up with the right principles at the base. And it made me think, here we are with the fear of global warming, the fear of loss of democracy, the ongoing wars, intense polarization, news that we can't trust. And I'm going, what is going on? And money in politics, all the
Right,
rest.
exactly. Everything. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking about it. You talked about things you don't trust. There's one profession we do trust is dentists because they tell a whole tooth, all tooth, and nothing but the tooth.
Thank you, Mike. Well done. And I'm sure there's a cavity in there somewhere, but
There-
but the,
yeah, yeah, there's no decay though, so don't decay.
but what I realized was that if we had, um, people talk about not interfering with markets, and I love the notion of markets being relatively free because that allows for competition, all these kind of things. But we interfered with markets right from the get-go. What we did when we allowed an incorporation was we said, you guys are free from lawsuits. You're free, you have limited liability. So
hmm
that was a government action right from the get-go. And
Mm.
I thought, what if we had required all of these hierarchies of power from the very beginning I mean, why would we ever set up a system where we allowed a corporation, a government, a media to tell things that weren't true, but were in their own self-interest and
Hmm.
spread them out across us? Why would we ever allow that? So if we, or allow, so if we set up, so I've got this thing called fiduciary in all things. It's a proposal. It's a single sentence legislative proposal. And it essentially says that whether you're a corporation, a nonprofit, or a government, that you should be required to have a fiduciary standard of obligation to the truth, democracy, the planet, and humanity ahead of your own self-interest.
True, that is true, and I'm seeing a lot of industries these days where it's like, corporations buy up all these companies and everything just to jack up their stock market, jack up the CEOs and everything like that. And it's like, just leave out the poor, the working poor, and middle class has been literally eliminated. So it's like I've never seen a society where you used to have a middle class and you have like five classes. Now it's like either poor or you're rich. There's no common ground, or now it's becoming very poor or very rich. It's
Right.
got to stop.
It's disappointing. I mean, having grown up in a small town where the rich and the poor, they got together. They moved around. They went to the same county fairs, and they
Oh yeah, or came over for picnics, have a little ice cream, or like families come on and everything. And of course, the rich and the poor can also talk sports as well, baseball, football, basketball, and everything, and cheer on whoever too. Even the CEO and janitor can get along with their favorite football team, or just talk football, baseball, or whatever too. That was a big thing.
and music, and I mean, it's all there. And so my notion is let's get this idea out, which is why I'm talking to you and to your audience, is if corporations, governments, and nonprofits were required to place the truth and democracy and the planet and humanity ahead of their own self-interest, wouldn't the world be in a pretty good place right now as opposed to where we are? And it's a simple thing to pass. Obviously, it would be complicated to implement, and politics is always challenging, but it would set a standard which would shift the notion that from I can have whatever I want, I can borrow all this money and then do whatever I want with it, and good luck suing me or getting to me, right? Um,
Well, that's
uh,
going to cost you more money if you sue people that you can sue, but that's going to cost you a lot of money. And there was something else going to, get a little point and get back to what you're doing. I heard in England, some other countries like say, I'm going to sue you for $10,000. And if you lose, you got to pay that $10,000. So it's like, I dare you to sue. And if you lose, you got to pay it.
yeah, right on. So that's what I'm doing. I'm trying to inspire people to live in freedom and then to make civilization a domain of freedom rather than this place where we feel kind of terrified. I mean, there are a lot of people who go, I don't know if the human species are going to last,
Hmm.
given what's happening. And so you can see that, but it doesn't have to be that way. And um, uh, we can instead play to the best in humanity by asking our large institutions, our powerful institutions, to put humane values ahead of their own self-interest.
Hmm. And of course, music helps a lot too. And, just about everything you can think of. And, boy, I'm thinking about it's just like, life planning and all that. So it's like, was our life planning maybe even 40, 50 years ago, or even like, when the country first got started in 1776, was there life planning back then?
Yeah, I mean, clearly people were passionate about freedom, weren't they? I mean, that's the whole idea. It was in the settling of America was this idea of freedom. It's something that's been with us forever, and I think it's something that we don't want to live in a world that doesn't have freedom for us.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and when we feel it inside ourselves, we want it for other people too, I
Hmm.
think. So.
It makes you think of the Bill of Rights, the Constitution, and everything like that, which is starting to erode away, little by little by little. And I think that's one thing that really needs to get strengthened: is the Bill of Rights and the Constitution.
Absolutely. No question about it. No
There you
question.
go. And thank God we got away from the King of England, and we're gonna still dump all that tea into Boston Harbor too. So it's like I'm gonna have to take one of my favorite teas and sacrifice myself in order to do that. But well, that'd be another time. In the meantime, where can we find your book, The Three Domains of Freedom, and all your works at, George?
Yeah, it's on Amazon.com, but of course the place where you can find all of my kind of creative works is georgekinder.com, and you'll even find an album that I've done on Spotify, Mike.
Oh, nice. Okay.
But
What is the name of that album? I'll hear more about it.
it's called Shine Through, and it was done it was during COVID time, and my 16-year-old daughters were here, and what were we going to do, right? And I got to keep them occupied. So I thought I've always wanted to write some songs and sing some music. So she did the music, I did the lyrics, and she's got a beautiful voice. So
Nice.
we're on Spotify. Yep.
Oh, very nice. We'll certainly check that as well too. Hear the amazing author George Kinder of The Three Domains of Freedom, the father of life planning here on the Mike Wagner Show as well. George, just a couple of things. I know we cover what's come up in 2024. Who do you consider biggest influence in your career?
My biggest influence. I think the biggest influence has been a mix of a meditative practice and nature. One of the interesting things about nature is nature brings you right here, right now, right? I mean, the moment you feel it.
Hmm.
So I think those probably have been the biggest influences. I mean, my family's been big too, Mike.
Oh yeah, that's always the number one. I'm feeling the moment right now too. I am feeling the moment. So yeah.
All right.
Or or
So
or, or can you imagine, forecasting moments in the future. So like in space, like, hey, this device can tell you what you're going to do in 10 seconds ahead of time. And you're like, and then I'm getting coffee. So, oh, that's one of
wonderful.
my favorite movies, by the way, too. And what's the best advice you can give to anybody at this point?
I think the best advice that I would give to anybody is to get life planned, is to find a life planner, someone who is really going to listen to you, who knows money, so you know that they're not going to just sell you something, sell you product of some kind, but who first and foremost is interested in using whatever financial resources you have. And you may not have any, you may not think that you have any, but we all have some. And using those resources to actually help you make sure that you live the life you're meant to live. So I'd say get life planned. And that's the second domain of freedom. Your life is yours.
And that certainly is a great idea as well. With the amazing author George Kinder of The Three Domains of Freedom here on the Mike Wagner Show, the father of life planning. George, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely amazing. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. Love to have you back. Once again, what's your website? How do people contact you? Where can people purchase or check out your book, especially The Three Domains of Freedom?
GeorgeKinder.com. Come to it. And if you're looking for a life planner, go to kinderinstitute.com.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we've got to talk about that. Kinder Institute. So a bit more about that.
Well, Kinder Institute is trains advisors all over the country and all over the world, and we have a designation called the Registered Life Planner designation. There's 650 people who've taken all of those courses and continue to take continuing education. Those are pretty cool courses if any of you happen to be financial advisors, because you get together. It's a very small group. You get together and you pair up and you life plan each other. So you learn it by being life planned and at the same time practicing life planning with another person. It's and typically with a dozen planners, you have 3 or 4 teachers as well. So it's a pretty cool program.
And we certainly encourage everybody to do that if you're looking to plan your life. And once again, what are your websites?
Um, kinderinstitute.com if you're looking for a life planner, and georgekinder.com if you're looking for all of the different thought leadership realms that I've been active in.
All right, we'll certainly check that out. We encourage you to get your life organized today. Once again, George, a very big thank you for your time. You've been absolutely fantastic. Looking forward to having you again soon. Keep us up to date. Keep in touch. We'd love to have you back. Wish all best. And George, you definitely have a great future ahead of you.
Thank you, my friend. Yeah.